Nice. Well,
Oh, is it going? Are we already in on this right now?
I think we are. Yeah,
Shit, it's starting. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. To the first podcast.
The first podcast.
Hopefully 5 or 6 more.
Yeah. I think we can manage to squeeze out a few more.
I think probably a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this will be pretty fun.
Yeah.
So, Taxi Hunter.
Yeah. So this is a movie we picked. So we decided we were going to make a podcast reviewing movies. So then the first movie we were going to pick, we decided to go to a movie store and purchase the movie. So we were kind of limited for our first movie of what the movie store had. And then boldly, two white guys, we chose a movie from Hong Kong.
Yep.
Called Taxi Driver.
Taxi Hunter. Taxi Hunter.
Okay, this is confusing because it's like similar to two other movies, so I get them confused a lot.
Yeah.
But because I was making the same mistake earlier, I was saying Taxi Driver. So Taxi Hunter, it's called.
Taxi Hunter. From Hong Kong.
Yeah, so it's a 1993 movie from Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And we knew nothing about this movie at all.
No. I mean, like, we could just kind of blind picked something, right? It was just kind of, what's something we've never heard of ever before.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the public or other people in the world haven't even watched. It's a new movie for them, right? If they decide to watch it. But I didn't want to go down mainstream. I didn't want to be like, let's watch Mission Impossible 6 or whatever. It's like, I want to watch something by like a director I've never heard of, and just like, I don't know, foreign films are really good too. So like most of them are pretty good, right?
Yeah, exactly. So. And I feel like this is a movie that a lot of people haven't seen because like online there's like not much information about it. But I feel like people who know about Hong Kong movies definitely know of this movie, or at least the director.
Yeah. I mean, you've done a little bit more research on him, like kind of after we watched the movie too. So like, he's directed a few other things.
Yeah. So his name's Herman Yau.
Yeah.
And apparently he's like a really big director. And am I clicking that thing? Sorry, you can hear my nails scratching.
I was like, what the hell is that?
Nervous tick. Yeah. I don't have headphones on, so I can only hear the sound of my own voice in my own ears.
Yeah.
So,
that's okay.
But yeah, so it's a director named Herman Yau who's directed like 70 movies, I read. And apparently he's also known as like kind of the king of Category 3 movies, which Category 3 movies is a rating in Hong Kong, which is basically the equivalent of NC-17 here.
Right.
So,
okay.
But it seems like he hasn't directed many. Like, it's weird they call him the king of Category 3, but he's only directed a few Category 3 movies. He's also done like family movies.
Oh, so he's all over the place.
Straight up dramas.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like Robert Rodriguez, that guy who directed like Planet Terror, which then he went and directed Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like, this kind of guy, he's like does a whole bunch of stuff. But I watched another one of his movies, which we'll talk about later. But so he's known as kind of like a nasty filmmaker at points. But this movie isn't. No. Taxi Hunter wasn't as kind of nasty as I expected.
As we kind of like initially sort of thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, like on the cover, it kind of looks like a little brutal.
Yeah. In the back of the DVD, it's like just him covered in blood.
Yeah. I mean, like, kind of, going off of what you said before, because he directed, what was it,
Ebola
Syndrome. And then we were kind of reading, and you were looking over and like kind of reading it out loud, and be like, this movie features a lot of like gross stuff.
Animal death.
Yeah.
Urine.
And it's
vomit.
Yeah.
It's like, I know Ebola Syndrome is just a guy who gets Ebola and then goes around and like spreads it to everyone. So he's like spitting on them. Apparently it opens up with him getting peed on. It's just like, I don't know. It's just kind of like a...
It sounds like it's just a gross out film.
And we'll definitely watch it.
How gross can we make this?
For sure. And that's like the one I watched last night. It was called The Untold Story. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
I had my hand over my mouth the entire time I was watching it. I was like...
Yeah.
And like, I feel like I've seen a lot of kind of gross movies. Yeah. But this one like went farther than I've seen a lot of movies go.
Yeah.
So...
And I feel like there's a few movies that I've seen where it's like it wasn't like intentionally gross, like that kind of stuff, where it's like, vomit and urine and feces or whatever. It's like that stuff would definitely gross me out, like especially if it's, I guess, portrayed really well.
Yeah.
But like there's movies where I think Prometheus, sorry. There was like that kind of made me sick at one point. I was like
the
it's where the little snake thing is going down the guy's throat.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know why that just made me like kind of queasy a little bit. It was like because the thing was like all slimy, and it's just like the thought of like something foreign like that, you know, entering your body through like your mouth or whatever.
I think I'm gonna say like the C-section.
Oh, that's pretty bad too. That made me a little queasy.
Yeah,
like, it's not like I guess they kind of meant to do that, but it wasn't like, I don't know. It fit the movie, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
but like that Ebola syndrome just sounds like he's like, how gross can I make a movie? For sure. Like,
and like I feel like that's kind of what he does. Which, with this movie, I mean, there's moments we'll get to where it's not gross. What I mean, like there's some moments where we were both like, damn. Yeah. You know. But I guess we should just get into the movie and like the basic plot. So I'm gonna set this here, which is in a dangerous area right beside where mics are recording. So basically, we'd start by reading off the back of the DVD because it kind of just a quick synopsis of it. So it says, after his pregnant wife perishes through the actions of a careless and callous cabbie, mild-mannered Akin, Anthony, king of Cat 3's Wong, declares war on the entire profession. And you don't need the knowledge to know he won't be leaving a tip. So, you know, basically sums up the movie with a stupid pun at the end. Yeah. Yeah. But
not like, I mean, like we kind of talked about it afterwards, and it was just like the premise is interesting because it's nothing like that's trying to be too much. Yeah. Like it's just a very simple story.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, it is like a super simple story. Yeah. And it's like a fun story.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah. And like the thing I like about it is he's just a normal guy.
Yeah. He's like Anthony Wong. Yeah. He's like an insurance salesman.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a
normal everyday kind of guy. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, and it wasn't like a movie that like wowed me, but I enjoyed it. It was entertaining, and
it was fun.
I think that's the thing I liked about it most was he was just a normal guy. He wasn't like this trained soldier who's now a veteran. Now he's like he had one like bad cabbie experience. Now he's got to go and kill them all.
The worst cabbie experience. Though.
Yeah,
like the bad
worst.
One.
Yeah. And like kind of going off of that too, it's like seeing some of the comments on. I think it might have been Letterboxd. It might have been another sort of movie app. But people are like, actually, this is like. I've had bad experiences, kind of like that. I've had in the movie,
like with the cab drivers. And stuff. I've had some horrible cab driving.
They're like, this is actually kind of accurate.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So. Yeah, because in this movie, like, basically, cab drivers are like the worst scum of the earth people you could ever imagine. Yeah. Like they're just always ripping everyone off. Yeah. You know, you'll get in their cab and you'll be like, I need to go to whatever the address is. And they're like, that's out of my way. Extra $100. It's like, oh my God. They're like, they're just like cheating everyone out of their money. Could be
like an extra 4-minute drive.
Yeah, they're like
extra $100.
Making old ladies put their own baggage in the trunk, and then he like helps with her and like demands more money because he's doing it, and then says he's not going to give her the ride or whatever because she's a bitch. Like, they're just like out of control.
It kind of just like at first when we were kind of getting into the movie, it almost felt like it was just a scourge of just like bad cabbies. Yeah, like it's like every cab driver is like rude or nasty.
Yeah.
I thought that was gonna be like kind of just like what the movie's about. It's like all cabbies are bad. Yeah, and like when I was thinking about this, like when we were watching the movie, I was like, you know, the director or the writer probably just must have had a really bad experience where he was like so angry and he's like, you know, all these cabbies are such idiots.
Yeah.
They're so rude and mean to me, and they charge me twice the amount of money to get somewhere. Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna make a movie about this, how this guy just takes revenge on cabbies. That's what I was like.
Totally.
Like, maybe that's why he wrote it. But
yeah, it's like the fantasy of like killing your boss. This is like killing the horrible cabbies that maybe this guy has dealt with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because like one of the first cab experiences he's like driving home from work, and then a cab cuts him off to like pick up people, and he rear ends the cab. And then the cabbie like telephones his cab friends, and he's like, come over here quick, I've been rear-ended. So then he comes out, and he's like, oh my God, the damages! Pay me $5,000 right now. Yeah. And then Ken's like, I only got $1,000. Then his cab buddies come over. Yeah. And then they basically bully him into paying them $5,000 on the spot for the damages. And then there's a shot of the three of them walking away and dividing up the money together and like laughing. Yeah. So they're all like in cahoots, ripping everyone off. You know, it's like they're just kind of over the top evil.
Yeah. It just makes them seem like they're all scum.
totally.
And I mean, like, to be fair, in the movie, like, they all are pretty much. Like, they're all like, scummy, scammy kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you meet like one decent cab driver in the whole movie, and he's
I think so.
Yeah.
I think there's only one, and I mean, that comes like kind of like midway through the movie. I think where he's going to seek revenge. I guess we're kind of going all over the place, but like because how this whole like sort of revenge story works is normal everyday Kin. Like you said, his first interaction is he gets scammed by cabbies, but then his pregnant wife goes into labor. So, is that right? Yeah. Like her water breaks and she's going into labor,
and then she starts like hemorrhaging, and like blood like bad. Her. Yeah.
So he kind of calls a cab, and just the cab driver.
Well, like the one cab shows up, like the cab he phoned shows up, and then another guy outside is like, "Hey man, can I get in the cab?" He's like, "I'm here to bring a pregnant lady to the hospital." He's like, "I got $100." Then he's like, "Get in," and the cab drives away. Meanwhile, his wife is like pouring out blood.
So then, because then they manage to come downstairs. The cab's gone. They're standing out in the pouring rain, and then this other cab driver shows up, and then he's off the clock or something.
And he's like, "Your wife's covered in blood. She's gonna get my cab all bloody."
He's about to put her in the cab. Realize he's like, I can't. No, she's full of blood. I can't take her or whatever. And then he's like, please, she's going to labor or whatever. And then the cab driver starts to drive away. The door closes on her dress, I guess, and drags her along the street
to death.
And it's not like it's like a gruesome like death. I mean, like she's I'm not trying to like downplay it. She's just being dragged. I mean, she's being dragged along the pavement and like swinging all around all over the place. But then she just gets dragged, killed. Kin is pissed. And seeks to revenge his wife. Seeks to avenge his wife, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the cab driver is so bad, like he realizes he dragged the pregnant lady to death, and then he like turns around, and he's like, "Ooh, my phone." And then he turns around, and he's like, "I'm gonna be in trouble," and then just speeds off. God.
And I guess spoiler alerts, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, like when like even after the movie, because he just starts to go on a rampage of just killing random taxi drivers, even if they're an asshole and they weren't like involved in his wife's death. It could be just the most random taxi driver, and he's just gonna go and murder them. I thought it would have been more interesting if he just was trying to find that one cab driver in a sea full of cabbies. He's like, well, I mean, because the cab driver did kill his wife, right? So it's like he's trying to find this one cab driver. Maybe he's interrogating other cabbies. But he's seeking out this one guy. But I mean, he just ends up like just going on a rampage. Just because
I feel like we talked about that we thought that was going to happen. Like through him killing all the cab drivers, eventually he would see the one. Have like a flashback to his wife being dragged, and then something would happen there. But that cab driver just got away with it and never shows up again. Which I'm surprised they never went back to that. Really?
I think it would have been a good thing to kind of throw back to, right? Like he sees him in a restaurant. I mean, like a lot of the movie kind of takes place in like on the streets, and he's like having noodles or whatever, and then they're all these cabbies, I guess, all pouring at this one spot to go and relax or whatever. And I don't know.
Because after like his wife dies, he basically Kin goes like off the rails. He becomes like a raging alcoholic. So bad that there's a scene of him pouring beer in his soup. Or whatever. I don't know. He just kind of goes off the rails, and then like one night after a night of drinking and mourning his wife. Also, just going back to he lost his wife, and his insurance job, they let him go because like he hasn't gotten over his wife's death yet. Because it's been a week. They give him a week vacation. He's not over his wife's death yet.
Just a week.
So then they let him go because they're like, his one friend says to him, he's like, "Come on, there's another guy here who his wife died, and they were married for 6 months. At least you were married for a year." And then like Kin just like slaps him across the face. But so the boss lets him go. So he's like in this like stupor of just like drinking and all sad. And then one night when he's drunk, he gets picked up by a taxi driver, and this is kind of his first encounter and first murder with the taxi driver, where he gets in the cab and he's all drunk, and the cab driver's like, "Don't vomit in my backseat," and like throws the vomit bag in his face. And then like Kin's like having flashbacks to his wife being dragged, and then like takes his tie, wraps it around the cabbie's neck, and starts strangling him. Then this part I was confused at. The car's going all crazy when he's strangling him. It like goes into like a construction ditch type of thing, And then what looks like happened, Kin grabs the rear view mirror.
That's what I think it was. Yeah.
Smashes it, and then just starts stabbing him in the chest to death.
Yeah.
Then goes home and cleans all the blood off of himself and then smiles.
Yeah, he kind of liked it.
Yeah, he liked it. So, he's
relief,
like... Yeah, he's going to go back for more.
Yeah. And, like, I thought it was going to be kind of just, like a downward spiral. I mean, like, it is. His wife dies. I thought it was going to be, like, he gets laid off because he's so depressed.
Yeah.
And, like just life is not going for him. Like, going good for him anymore.
Yeah.
And then the cherry on top would be, like, a taxi driver is, like, an asshole.
Yes, yeah.
Like... It kind of, like we talked about this earlier too, is like it kind of resembles Falling Down.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people compare it to.
We'll get into that later, but
because we both watched Falling Down in preparation for this. And
didn't really like match up too much.
No. But we were taking notes during the movie, and I feel like one of the first notes we both had was falling down. Mm-hmm. So we did notice a similarity.
Unintentionally, like you didn't mention it to me. I didn't mention it to you. It was we were just very similar in like the first viewing.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
And I haven't seen Falling Down after today. I haven't seen it in probably 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So it was like, it wasn't that fresh in my mind when we were watching Taxi Hunter, because I was just like, oh yeah, like there's similarities, but it's not like it's totally the same. I guess.
Yeah. No, it's like really the similarities are. Yeah, we'll go into it more later, but just mainly the thing is just the way he's dressed. He's in like a white shirt with a black tie, just like a business kind of guy.
Yeah.
And like that's the first thing that rang, kind of falling down to me. Mm-hmm. But I guess we can go over some of the more gruesome aspects of the movie, some of the other taxi encounters.
Yes, because I think there was only 3 taxi deaths, 3 or 4.
Yeah,
I know. So there was the first one. Yeah. Then he strangles the other one.
He tries to do it to the second one. And then the second one, like,
beats the
shit out of him with, like, a billy club that he has. And the fight, like, starts in the cab, goes outside of the car, and then it ends on, like, him getting his ass beat on a staircase.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing I liked about this movie is the character is very sloppy.
Oh, yeah, for
like,
sure.
He's not a John Wick. He's not, just an ace at everything. Like, the first one is, like, it's very sloppy. He's, he's strangling him, and then he, like, takes a mirror, like a very unconventional sort of weapon, right? And then like kills him that way.
Yeah.
So he's sloppy, and then he gets his ass kicked in the second one. Yeah, and he's not successful in all of them. Right?
Yeah.
So it just shows that like, it doesn't mean you like just because you're avenging someone you're gonna go and murder everyone like John Wick does.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So I like that aspect where he's unprepared and he thinks he can conquer them all, but he can't.
Sure he can't. He's like not strong. Like, the guy gets like on top of him super fast.
Yeah,
definitely.
So
it's like. Yeah,
and like
the only thing he has is like the element of surprise on these guys. But if they can beat him, then like they will,
Yeah. So that was the attempted second one.
Yes.
I think the second one was when he had the gun?
Yeah. So like early in the movie, you find out that as an insurance salesman, he's selling insurance to a gang lord kind of guy.
Yeah.
So then he finds out he has like a hookup to guns.
Yeah.
So then he goes and gets like a handgun through that guy. Mm-hmm. And then that death, I believe, is the one with the old lady. The first handgun death.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's.
She's like putting the bags in the car, and he's like walking the street.
That is right. Yeah. So there was 4. I think.
Yeah. I think in total it's like 4 deaths.
4.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the second one. I thought it was the third one that was reversed into the second one. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of goes through like a montage scene of like him practicing using the gun.
Yes.
And
which
again,
is. Yeah.
It shows he's not perfect at it. He's trying to pull it out of his pocket. He's dropping it, or the bullets. He doesn't know how to load the bullets. They're falling out. He's very clumsy. I mean, it kind of goes through like a cheesy montage of like him doing push-ups and sit-ups and stuff, and it's like,
which is why earlier I got confused with Taxi Driver, because there's a scene in Taxi Driver where I think the character's name is like Travis or something. He realizes he's gonna like pretty much go kill a bunch of pimps, so he needs to get fit. Yeah. So he's like, I gotta do 50 pull-ups a day, 50 push-ups, no more pills, no more bad food. And this scene kind of does that without any of that. He's just like doing push-ups. Mm-hmm. He's doing some crunches, like a day's worth of crunches and sit-ups.
Yeah.
And then like also like Taxi Driver, there's a scene where he's like practicing pulling out the gun and what it's gonna like, how it's gonna go down.
So it's definitely like an homage to Taxi Driver, right?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
He probably watched that. The writer's probably like, I have a story about Taxi Hunter or whatever, and then he's like, Taxi Driver was one of my favorite films. But it's like an homage, right?
Yeah, and it almost feels like a parody of that.
Yeah.
And like I was watching an interview with Anthony. Anthony Wong.
Oh, the actor,
and he was saying that like his biggest inspiration for acting was Robert De Niro.
Oh, okay.
Like there's definitely like connections there, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that montage is really weird.
It's kind of all over the place. Like it's like I don't know, kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like unintentionally funny because he's.
But by the end of it, he knows how to use the handgun.
Yeah.
And he knows how to pull it out
after a day of practice.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like maybe it's not that out of the world, but like
if he took 4 days, I would have been bored. I'm glad he got it down pat. You know, I was ready to go kill more people.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so then the second death comes where like you said, the one taxi driver is giving an old lady a really hard time. Yeah. And he's like, I can't remember.
He's like, put your bags on the car, and it's like all heavy. She's like 90-pound woman.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I need help. And then he's like, $30 more.
Yeah.
And then he puts it in. And then Anthony Wong walks up, and then is basically like, stop giving her a hard time, you know?
Yeah, because I think he confronts him, and then the taxi driver's like kind of pushing him back, and what are you gonna do about it, kind of thing. And then
Anthony Wong like pushes him, and he falls over the car. And then the old lady's like, beat him up.
Yeah,
beat him up for me. And then he pulls out his handgun and just pops him in the chest. And then it cuts to a scene of the old woman like mouth agape, like it's pretty funny.
And then she's like all about it. Like,
she loves it.
She's like, you teach them or something like that.
Yeah, totally. There's a scene where like the cops are interrogating her.
Yeah.
And she like doesn't want to give up the taxi driver because he like helped her out, avenged her or whatever.
Yeah.
And he shot the man to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of his first moment of like being a badass. Now, that's the one where I think it shows like the two different angles kind of thing. Is that the one where it like shows like a low angle like close up and then like a wide shot?
Yeah, I think so.
The third one. Yeah,
because there's the other death, which is again he shoots a guy, but this one's a bit more gruesome because like he's following a cab driver. He sees the cab driver kind of like a really drunk woman gets in his cab,
like,
and he's kind of like feeling her up for sure,
taking advantage. Yeah,
and then the cab pulls away with the woman in the trunk, and then like Anthony Wong follows the cab into like an alley.
Yeah,
and then he like pulls the woman out and is like stripping her clothes off.
Yeah,
and then Anthony Wong walks up, pops him in the kneecaps.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
and then he's like. Basically, he's like, will you do this again? And the guy's like, will you attack a woman again? The guy's like, no, I won't do it. And he's like, liar! And then shoots him. And like, so he's basically just trying to admit how bad of a person he is.
Yeah.
And then every time the guy lies, he like shoots farther up his body.
Yeah.
So it's like in his chest now.
And where it gets more creative is when he like pulls the guy through the window and he's rolling the window up so that like it just like, it starts to crush his neck, but then it like the glass like breaks.
Yeah, and slits his throat.
Like, just dead.
Yeah, which is definitely the most gruesome.
That was the most gruesome part.
Yeah, movie. I remember we watched it with your girlfriend or fiance.
Fiance.
Yeah.
She's gonna listen to this.
Used to stay in that.
Used to it. Yeah. She's gonna listen to this. And,
yeah. But I think that was the one part where I think I saw in the corner of my eye. She was like, "Ooh, Jesus." Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that was gruesome.
That was definitely like.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with that. Like stuff like that where it's like super gruesome is like okay, like it's kind of like boring.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like you're doing it too much. It's like if you do it once, it's like
it's
might
super effective.
Make it worth your while, kind of thing, right? So it wasn't like that bad. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It was
close-ups. It was just like it was a very dark scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like definitely the most creative one. So kind of,
sure.
I guess it kind of showed at that point where he was like kind of evolving into like this more serious killer. I guess.
Yeah, for sure, and like getting like. Just more brutal and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the idea of having that window rolled up, like if you've ever had a window roll up on your finger, it's on your neck.
Yeah. That would not be fun.
God, right when I saw his head go in that window and he starts rolling up, I'm like, no.
You know what's gonna happen.
You know what's gonna happen, yeah. And it looks good. Like I just rewatched that scene and I'm like, it looks brutal. Like it looks. I don't know how they did it, but like,
it
looks good.
Yeah. I guess just
really looks like
fake glass. I guess
fake glass.
And like it doesn't cut.
Yeah, it's not like cheesy looking or like
I think and the nice thing about like these kind of movies like around the 1990s is like I think a lot of stuff was practical.
Mm-hmm.
Like
for sure.
I didn't I think all the explosions, the fires, the blood.
Yeah, there's any CGI
all
in
that
this.
stuff. It was all practical.
Yeah,
which was really nice. Like there's nothing I dislike more in like movie and TV where it's like the CGI is so noticeable.
Yeah.
So it's like this movie from 1993, which probably didn't have like the largest budget. I don't know if I didn't find anything on it. Did you?
No, there's not much information on this, but no, I didn't. I don't know.
It's like they probably didn't have the biggest budget, but it's like they achieved like effects and it looked good.
Yeah.
Right for the time period.
Oh, right? For sure. And like, I'm glad they didn't use like any CGI, because like early 90s CGI, like oh god,
yeah, it would look awful.
Yeah, luckily there wasn't any points in this movie where they would have to use CGI, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you look over there,
just checking the camera. I saw a symbol pop up there.
Yeah, I was like, oh, is that a battery?
No, it's just it's getting really hot.
Yeah, okay. There was no reason to use CGI in this movie anyways. Like there wasn't even like, you know, when it comes to like gore effects, it was all like, you know, blood squibs, that kind of stuff. Like, there wasn't like anything too crazy where CGI would like be needed, you know.
Yeah. So that was the third death, which is like really justified.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, like,
the guy is like
way more multiple reasons to like, obviously, like, you know, end that guy's life.
Yeah. And while he's like killing these taxi drivers, he does get into one taxi where he's kind of like egging. That's the whole thing too. He kind of like starts to egg the taxi drivers on to like get them angry. Because the one taxi driver, he's like, "Drop me off here," and then he starts driving. He's like, "No, drop me off there."
And the guy's like,
again. He's like, fine. "Stop, drop me off here." And then he's like, "You're not getting angry?" And then he's like, "Drive me all the way to this place that's really far away." And then he's like, "And if you drive me there, you realize you'll have to drive all the way back with no fare."
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, that's just part of my business. And he's like, "You're a good taxi driver," and like tips him and then leaves.
Tip and everything. Yeah.
So he's not a complete animal.
No.
Like
no.
he
sees the good in people, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
just one. But.
Just one guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, I guess because we kind of missed out on a couple characters.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Right.
Like,
so we've been talking about Kin, like the main character, the whole time. Yeah. Right. Obviously, then there's his pregnant wife, but she plays like
she did
10 minutes of the movie, maybe.
Yeah.
And then so there's three other characters, like, because there's one guy's daughter, she's in it quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
So there's three other characters at least where they play like kind of like an integral part.
Yeah, where I have like so through all these killings, there's kind of like two cops following the killings and trying to figure out who's killing the taxi drivers. And, you know, there's like the sergeant character. I have to look at my notes because I have them here, which is Sergeant Chung. He's kind of like a badass. He's played by Wong. Pardon the pronunciation, too. I was struggling here with this. I was really trying to get it right. And then the other character is who's also like an undercover detective. And he's kind of the comedy relief. And his character is called Go. Yeah. And he's played by a name which took me forever to find the pronunciation for, because it's spelled Ng-Man-Tat. So
spell that out and then
Go-Main Tat.
Oh, okay,
but then apparently you're not supposed to pronounce the go part, so it's just Main Tat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
interesting.
I don't know. It took me forever to find this.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to be like completely off.
Been doing your homework.
Oh, so I didn't want to be completely off. Yeah, the pronunciation.
That's good.
So there's like these two guys basically trailing the murders, and also Sergeant Chung is the brother or the friend.
This is where it got confusing, because we kind of chalked it up. I think all three of us, me, you, and Jess, all kind of chalked it up to be just a mistranslation. Because Chung comes into Kin's apartment when his wife is still alive.
Yes. Like they're gonna have dinner.
Yeah, they're gonna have dinner, and then Chung is like, "Oh, hey, sister-in-law," or something like that. Yeah. But then I think there was something near the end where it's like they revealed that they were just really good friends.
Yeah, they keep just instead of saying brother, like instead of Kin referring to Chung as his brother, he refers to him as his friend.
Yeah,
so it's confusing. But he does call her the sister-in-law.
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to my sister-in-law cooking me dinner."
Yeah, it's so I don't know. Maybe they are brothers, but they don't. Because I think it's near the end actually where they he reveals that like they were just really good friends. I think like he says something like, "You would like friends don't treat each other," or something like that. It was confusing.
And it shouldn't be confusing.
Yeah, because when we got to that part, I think we were like, "Oh, I think it's just a mistranslation."
It's got to be a translation.
So it's like when everyone in the movie says "bro."
Yeah,
everyone says "bro" to each other. So it's just like it's got to be just a mistranslation from,
for sure,
to English.
Any
right?
kind of like greeting or
like
in term
it's
of
probably just
like
a general sort of greeting, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? So kind of confusing. I think they're just really good friends. So it's really weird.
Yeah. They definitely don't look alike.
They definitely don't. Yeah. And it's not mentioned anywhere else in the movie.
No.
They're like, "Oh, my brother's a cop."
Yeah, I know.
My brother's an insurance salesman or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of confusing. So they're just really good friends. Chung is a cop. undercover cop. Go is an undercover cop as well.
Yeah.
And kind of like the weird thing when I knew this movie was gonna be like kind of cool, was like in the very beginning, like the first shot.
Yeah.
Second sort of scene, I guess, because the first sort of opening credits is like just a taxi driving, but like it shows Chung and Go in action.
Yes.
So it's like they're trailing like these random, I guess, like bank robbers or something like that, and it just shows Chung just kicking the shit out of everyone.
But like he's like riding on top of cars and stuff, and like holding onto the taxi.
Yeah.
Like whatever that thing is. Like, you know, and holding onto as the car is swinging around.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing about this movie too, is like the stunts are like awesome.
The stunts are good.
Yeah. So it kind of shows how Chung is just like kind of like this badass.
Chung's a badass.
Yeah. Go is, like you said, the comic relief. Like,
Go's a fool.
He is like,
But also like, I don't know. Yeah. He's just kind of your,
like he's, if you, when you look at him, he's just got the sideways cap on. He's always kind of like making some weird sort of like sly comment or whatever. Like kind of just trying to, I guess, bring the light in the room or something.
And he's always wearing like, is it
basketball
jerseys and stuff?
Celtics and I don't know.
And when you first see him, he's undercover with another police officer.
Yeah.
And you think that like that's what he's wearing to be undercover. Like he has to like look all like cut a hood or whatever.
Yeah.
Then it turns out every other scene he's in, he has a new basketball jersey on.
Yeah.
And he has like his badge clipped on to like the brim of his hat or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like ridiculous. But yeah, the opening scene, I was kind of rewatching it again. It's like this random action scene, which doesn't really have a purpose to the movie. But what happens is Go is undercover with this other cop and nothing's happening. So he goes to get in the cab to drive back to the police station. And then for no reason, the cab driver turns around with a handgun and shoots his partner like in the ass.
Yeah.
So then it's this crazy action scene. And then Go's partner is now injured. So he has to partner up with Chung who's like the badass.
Which is like, I guess it's revealed in the beginning of the movie that Chung is kind of like a lone wolf. Because I think they, like Go and his partner see Chung in the car and they're like, oh, there's that.
Yes, there's like, there's
that guy. And I thought, because it wasn't very clear. I thought Chung, before we knew he was Chung, I thought he was just like some, like, guy associated with like the criminals or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
same.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. So it was a little confusing in the beginning. Like it wasn't very clear.
No.
But it just kind of shows that, Chung is kind of like the badass lone wolf, and then he replaces Go's original partner.
Yeah. Which Go doesn't like, because he's like, all Chung's partners end up either handicapped, dead, or impotent.
Yeah.
Which, what the hell? But he's like all scared.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, they don't really go into it that far, but it's kind of like the Odd Couple type of thing. You have the goofy cop with like the hard ass cop.
Good cop, bad cop. Kind of thing.
Type of action. Yeah, for sure.
And then there's another kind of like, I guess, more pivotal character. Like she's in it quite a bit. Is Go's daughter. Do you have her name? I can't remember.
Jeez, the pronunciation is gonna be way off. It's played by, I like her name in real life. It's Athena Chu Yun.
Okay. But in the movies?
In the movie, her character, we'll just go with her first name. It's Mac.
Mac. Okay.
So that's what we're gonna go with.
Yeah.
My spelling for the rest of her name is, I can't even make it out. So
we will list it. Maybe later.
For sure. Also, the actress who plays Kin's pregnant wife has a nice name in real life. It's Perry Lei Hoisan.
Oh, cool.
Do you like Perry? That's kind of a nice name.
Perry.
But yeah. So you were talking about the Athena Chu Yun character.
Yeah. So she, I guess, like she plays Go's daughter, but she's also in the news. Like she's like a reporter or something like that. Which I guess she kind of gets a little bit more screen time near the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Because she gets kind of like, spoiler alert, taken hostage. By none other than Kin.
Yeah.
Right? Or Anthony Wong.
Yeah.
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 So those are your like four main characters really throughout the whole movie.
Yeah. Her character is like kind of pointless at the same time, because like she's just like trying to get scoops from her dad, because her dad's like a cop. So she like bribes him by like cooking for him and giving him a lot of soy sauce.
Yeah. Can we talk about for a sec like how he was eating shrimp?
Oof.
So there's a scene where it's Chung, Go, and Go's daughter. They're all having dinner, and Go's favorite dish is shrimp.
Shrimp, yes.
And so just to talk about this for a second, this is really kind of weird. This is probably the grossest part of the movie.
It was disgusting.
I think it was kind of disgusting.
Also, there's a few food moments that are gross, but
yeah. So his character likes to dip the shrimp in soy sauce and then just suck the soy sauce off
the shrimp. Shrimp. He doesn't eat the shrimp.
He doesn't eat the shrimp. Yeah. He doesn't bite into it. He just like sucks the soy sauce off, and he keeps on dipping it in the soy sauce. I think there's like at least 20 seconds of him just like kind of
like he doesn't. Yeah. And then he mentions that he likes shrimp because he can eat soy sauce, which is like me with chicken and Frank's hot sauce.
Yeah.
Most of the food I eat is only a means to eat Frank's hot sauce. You know, so it's like,
or it's like if I have like some sort of like spread on a cracker, it's like I load that cracker up with just like 4 times the amount of spread or something.
Oh,
it's
totally.
Like I'm just eating the spread or eating the cracker for the spread.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
like, yeah. And there'll be times where I'll like eat a drumstick of chicken with hot sauce.
Yeah.
And then all the meat will be gone, but I'll still cover just the bone in
Just
hot
the
sauce and
bone.
suck on the bone forever. It's so damn
I guess it's not that out there, I guess. But
no,
like, it's
but it's still
kinda,
like, ooh, and he's just sucking on those shrimp.
It's just like a raw shrimp kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's like it was gross.
kind of weird.
Yeah, it was gross.
Anyways, like that kind of got trailed off, but
yeah, there's also a scene at the beginning of the movie where Go is sucking the yolk out of an egg with a straw, and then keeps the yolk in the straw.
That's right.
And then dips it in his drink, and then starts drinking.
That's
the drink.
right. I did forget
It's like,
about that.
What is this guy doing? Unless that's like
must be like a thing
you do.
Yeah.
Again, we're not well versed on like the customs of Hong Kong.
Yeah, I guess if this is a normal thing, then
we apologize.
Yeah, we apologize, and I don't know.
Yeah, it does. It seems like it's played for laughs, so I'm assuming it's not something you do.
Like it's like kind of like, oh my god, there's like tons of like comedy movies. I guess it just kind of maybe shows that like he's just eccentric.
Yeah,
maybe
totally.
If it's not like a normal thing that a lot of people do, but it's like a lot of comedy movies when it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example. I can't think of one right now. It's like, I don't know. I can't think of one right now. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of like comedy movies out there that like they have like these weird meals.
Oh, for sure.
Where it's like,
I just
you're
watched
doing that just to kind of like be funny.
Oh, for sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I just watched a movie recently called like Strange Darling, where like 2 people make breakfast, and the breakfast is so over the top disgusting that it's like funny.
Yeah,
you know, like full, I don't know, it was just awful, like cooking full like pounds of butter for like pancakes and stuff, and like
it'd be like something like that.
Like,
you put like half a brick of butter just on one pancake or something. It's like kind of like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Anyways, kind of got trailed off there. Where were we kind of going with that? I don't know.
So we were just talking about how Go and then
Chung. So it's like so like good cop, bad cop, funny cop, serious cop.
Yeah. So basically they decide, they like know that there's a guy going around killing taxi drivers. So Go and Chung decide to go undercover as taxi drivers. And they kind of have like CV radios that they're recording what goes on in the cabs. So they're trying to like entrap the murderer.
Yeah.
They don't know who it is yet. So Kin ends up getting in Go's cab while he's undercover.
Yes. Yeah. And then Kin doesn't know who Go is.
Like,
no,
he thinks he's just a taxi driver.
He's
kind of an asshole too. He's kind of being an asshole.
I think I don't know if that was like intentional. Like I don't know if they like agreed like
instantly just putting on the uniform makes you an asshole.
Yeah.
He's like
essentially.
Yeah, he's like mad that he has to drive in places and stuff, or that he's off the clock or something. You know, he's just being an asshole.
Yeah.
And then Kin ends up being like, "Do you know who I am? I'm the guy who's killed all the taxi drivers. I'm going to kill you."
Yeah.
And then goes like, "Ooh," tries to like jump out of the cab.
Yeah. He doesn't get
he gets shot in the back and then hit by a truck.
Yeah. So Go has a pretty like rough time.
On his birthday.
Yeah, we kind of left that out. It's
the movie makes a point of knowing that it's his birthday, just so you feel extra bad with him.
Yeah, you know it's coming.
Frigged up.
Yeah, it's like, today's your birthday. I'm gonna make you your favorite dish, shrimp and soy sauce. And so you kind of anticipate, okay, like something bad is gonna happen, obviously.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like any sort of movie.
Yeah.
And then so he gets hit by a
like a truck. Yeah, he gets fucked up.
And then because Kin sees that happen, like all these like civilians just start like rushing around, and then too much attention, so he runs away. Chung obviously arrives later on the scene, doesn't see that Kin was there, so he has no idea.
Just misses him.
Yeah. And then they go to the hospital, right? So this is where his daughter is as well, and then Kin kind of like fast forward a little bit. Kin goes to the hospital. I think
because he's like watching the news and he realizes that he accidentally shot a cop.
Yeah, and then he finds out that he's still alive.
Yes.
So I think you're like, oh damn, okay. So at least Go is still alive. Like he's like the most harmless character.
You like Go.
Yeah, you like Go. There's not a bad bone in this character's body.
No, he's lovable.
Yeah, he's a lovable character. Yeah.
Stupid as hell.
He's very stupid. Yeah. You think for an undercover cop they would keep a gun
for sure,
like ready?
Yeah, totally. It's like, and he also knows he's picking up the murderer.
Yeah, if you're looking for a taxi murderer, keep your gun like on you.
Yeah, he just runs away.
Yeah.
But it's forgivable.
So then they kind of like shows in the hospital. Ken arrives, and finds Go laying in his hospital bed.
Yeah,
this whole scene was like kind of funny.
It was funny
because the whole scene plays out as like, Ken is gonna smother Go, like while he's still alive or whatever. Right?
Yeah, you think he's going to the hospital to kill him because he saw what he looked like.
Yeah,
and he admitted that he was the killer.
Yeah,
so it's like Go has information which he needs to hush up.
Yeah. And then Ken kind of goes, and it's like this
goes like all in bandages and like can't move and like shaking. He has like tubes in his nose and stuff. He's like, oh.
Yeah. And then it just turns out that like Ken wants him to forgive him, kind of thing. Like
he wants to apologize.
Like, I didn't know or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
I didn't know you were a cop. I was trying to kill taxi drivers.
Yeah.
So then he like gets a pillow. It's like this long drawn out scene where he's like fluffing the pillow and like going towards Go's head.
Go's like shaking.
And he like
more.
he's like shaking. He's like trying to like get help. And then he like takes Go's head, pulls it forward, puts the pillow behind him, makes him
like
comfortable.
give him some support.
Yeah, I think was there a scene where he like reached into his
and
jacket,
then he's like,
and he like pulled.
Then
out
he's like, and now you have information that I need for you to like not tell people.
Yeah.
And he like reaches into his coat, and you think he's gonna like. And Jess is laughing a lot at this part. He like reaches in the coat. You think he's gonna pull out like a knife or something to stab him, but it's a birthday card.
Yeah, it's a birthday card because he found out it was his birthday on the news.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So again, Ken's not all that bad.
Yeah,
still kind of deranged, but
for sure. But he has heart, man.
He has some heart. Yeah, he has a good bone. A good bone in his body.
Yeah,
I guess.
for sure. Because the whole movie, like, he's doing horrible things, but you're still kind of rooting for him.
Yeah.
Until he hurts Go. Yeah. And then you're like, now you've crossed the line. This guy was like, we liked him the whole movie.
Yeah. So that was kind of like a funny scene. Then I think it's his daughter comes into the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Sees that Ken he's dressed as a doctor. He has like the lab coat on and everything. And then like Go is trying to like ring for help or something. And then, to tell his daughter that Ken is the killer. Ken freaks out, takes his daughter hostage, pulls a gun to her head, pulls her out of the hospital and just like running around all over the place.
Totally.
And it was, again, I think we kind of like, we didn't tell each other this, but we kind of linked a very brief sort of similarity to Hard Boiled.
Yeah, Hard Boiled.
It's just a hospital. I mean, like they're kind of running through it. It's
Yeah.
like a chase scene, like guns firing or whatever.
For sure.
I don't know if that was intentional, but it just like, I was like,
Yeah,
oh, this kind of reminds me of Hard Boiled a little bit.
It's weird because the other movie I watched last night by Herman Yau had a hospital standoff scene.
Oh, weird.
So I don't know if they just have like this location and like can use it or whatever. But yeah, very similar. Hard Boiled without like the kind of like craziness. Like he doesn't even like fire a shot in the hospital.
I think it's just kind of like running around and
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like just kind of the vibe, I guess. Maybe it's just a hospital that makes me reminded of like Hard Boiled a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess then what he
runs away.
He runs away with his daughter, with Go's daughter in the car.
Yeah, and then the whole thing, Chung is like, if we're piecing together right, Chung goes back to the police station and listens to the recording in Go's car, and then the guy's like, he's listening to the recording and he hears the guy say, "My wife died, a cabbie killed her, and I'm gonna kill you," or whatever. So then he links that it's Ken who he's looking after.
Yep.
So I think he meets Ken at the hospital, and then they end up in a car chase.
That's right. Yeah. In the car chase, I mean, like, again, it wasn't special. There wasn't like
it wasn't
a
bad.
whole lot. I mean, like, it was practical again.
Yeah.
There was like some cool angles.
Yeah. It's kind of a nighttime chasing through like the streets of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think we were kind of wondering, like, did they block off a street just to use that, or did they just kind of like just drive? Sure. And it wasn't like too fast, but it was like I guess enough.
There were scenes where it was supposed to be like they were speeding around cars, but you could tell they were just like changing lanes at a normal pace and then speeding it up, Yeah. But it was still fine though. It looked good. I thought.
It was cool.
Yeah. And there's the scene too where like Chung's car kind of hits something and goes up on its side and lands on Kin's car.
Yeah.
So it's like the wheel is on top of his car and the two cars are driving together on top of each other, which is pretty cool. And then like Chung climbs through the window into Kin's car.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a cool scene.
Yeah.
This kind of like leads into like the very final moments of the movie.
Yeah.
So they like crash into like a restaurant or like a building, right?
Yeah, they into the restaurant that you see earlier in the movie where all the taxi drivers
all
go
the
to
cabbies
eat.
gather.
Yeah.
So they kind of gather into there, and it's kind of like a little bit of a fight scene, a little bit.
Yeah, a bit of a standoff.
Yeah, a little bit of a standoff. They're kind of pointing guns at each other.
Yeah.
Kin essentially gives up. Like he gives in. Chung kind of talks him down after like kind of pointing his gun at a lot of cabbies, right? Because he walks out.
Well, yeah, they're like kind of like in the restaurant pointing their guns at each other, and he's kind of like explaining his case, which isn't a very good case. He's like, I have to kill all the taxi drivers. They killed my wife. And he's like, you're going about this the wrong way. Yeah. And he's like, give me your gun. Yeah. And then Kin goes to give Chung his gun, like pushes Chung out of the way, and he's like, I have to kill all the taxi drivers, and runs outside. And then all the taxi drivers swarm him and beat the shit out of him again.
Basically, yeah. He just gets jumped. Doesn't die. He just gets jumped.
Yeah, because Chung pulls out his pistol and then shoots in the air.
Scares them all off. Yeah.
Then an ambulance comes.
Ambulance comes, pick Kin up, and that's
it. Chung says he'll help him.
Yeah.
And then he drives away.
And we're not joking you. That's literally the end of the movie. Like, it just fades out like that.
Yeah, it fades out with him.
It just fades out with him on the the gurney or whatever.
Yeah, in the stretcher.
And then it's just like, it just fades out.
Yeah.
So, and I said this at the end of the movie, it kind of bothered me that it ended that way.
I thought there was going to be a more of an explosive ending.
Yeah.
Like when he's like, I'm going to kill all the taxi drivers. And then he runs outside and he has a pistol in his hand.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to start shooting the taxi drivers, but he just shoots his pistol in the air.
Yeah.
So
it was kind of it's like ramping up in terms of like action and intensity and stuff. And then it goes down and it's like just kind of drops. Like it's like, you think he's gonna mow down all these
at least cabbies. Kill a few of them.
Yeah. Or he's gonna succumb to the like all these cabbies just beating the crap out of him, and then that he just dies because they're getting revenge on him
for sure. I'm surprised they didn't end it like that way too. Him getting beaten to death.
Yeah.
And like Chung's trying to stop it, but he can't.
But he can't get.
And he's
through,
like watching his brother or friend get beaten to death by the taxi drivers, who are still awful people. So it would have been an interesting ending.
Which then it could have. I mean, potentially, I guess if they would have ever done a sequel, it could have led into Chung is now trying to arrest, or he's trying to carry out because now they killed his friend, and now it just carries on through him. But I mean, I don't know. So because that frustrated me. So it ended really slow, like, and just very soft. Like it didn't it was like, oh wait, that's the end. Like I thought it was gonna fade back in. Maybe he's in the hospital or something.
Yeah. Oh no. Or credits just start rolling.
They just started rolling. Like you think he's like gonna be in jail.
Yeah.
Where maybe other cab drivers are. I don't know. And they're like, you're the guy.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh no.
But then like even the beginning was like, it started off like bam, like you're right in it, like it's just like an action scene, like on car, like jumping on car roofs, and, you're driving around all over the place, like gunshots and everything. It's like it starts really fast, but then ends really sort of like kind of like
and it starts with crazy stunts. So being familiar, like I haven't seen many Hong Kong movies, but like Jackie Chan's Police Story or something, I was expecting like, we're gonna get like these stunt scenes every I don't know, it was 20 minutes or something, but you don't really get more stunts until the end car chase.
So it's kind of like a mirror, like a reflection in that case. Like it's like you start with like, an intense, stunt scene, and then you end with an intense stunt scene. But that stunt scene also ends very like dully. I don't know. It's just like, oh, well, that's not the best ending, I guess. I don't know.
For sure.
It doesn't really like leave you with questions answered. Like he just gets in a hospital gurney for an ambulance, and then it's just like, that's it. Like what happens? What happens to these characters afterwards? Does Chung get promoted? Does Kin go to jail?
Does for sure.
Go live? I'm assuming he lives.
He lives. He was doing pretty well in the hospital. Like he could
his vitals
show
stable.
fear. So like I feel like he was like, I think he lived.
Okay,
we
can safely say.
Even though he did get real bashed up. But,
yeah.
But yeah, speaking to the parallels of like falling down, I feel like the ending was kind of like the falling down ending, where you have Robert Duvall on like the pier with Michael Douglas, and they're in a face-off. So I thought the face-off would end with like falling down, where like Chung has to like shoot his brother or something.
Yeah.
You know, because like in Falling Down, Robert Duvall ends up having to shoot Michael Douglas because he like draws for his weapon, but it's like the water pistol or whatever, you know? So I don't know. I just thought something was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know? Something.
I mean, like after we watched it, we were kind of like watching a little bit of like an interview with it wasn't Herman Yau. It was I think
it was like a stunt coordinator.
He was like the stunt coordinator.
Yeah.
He was kind of talking about the movie afterwards, and one of the questions was, you know, how do you feel about people saying there's similarities between this, like between Taxi Hunter, Taxi Driver, and Falling Down, and then you know. That's when we both kind of concluded like, oh yeah, Falling Down, like I had written that down, you written that down.
Yeah, exactly. That's when we both were like,
that's kind of similar. After watching Falling Down today, when did you watch?
I watched it last night.
Last night.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of fresh on Falling Down.
Yeah.
I watched and I'm like, you know, it's not the same, really. I mean, like we kind of drew conclusions of like they look the same, kind of like white t-shirt, glasses.
Yeah.
Kind of an average Joe. I mean, like in Falling Down, if you haven't seen it, Michael Douglas is essentially a psychopath. Like he kind of starts out as he is a psychopath. Like it's not like he gets broken. Like you find out literally like maybe within 25 minutes of the movie that he's like
for sure
crazy.
That's what weirded me about watching Falling Down again last night because I hadn't seen it in so long. Is that I thought he built up to him being a psychopath. And like what he did with people got worse and worse. Mm-hmm. But you know, it starts with him stuck in traffic. You don't know anything about his situation. Yeah. But then he goes to that Korean variety store owner.
Yeah.
And is just like the worst human being in the face of the earth.
Basically, yeah, because he charged 35 cents more than what he wanted to pay for a can of Coca-Cola.
I get it, but it's super annoying. And then what he says to the Korean variety store owner too, he's like, you're in my country taking my money and you don't have the courtesy to learn my language. It's like, damn, Michael Douglas, you're like not a good guy. Yeah. And then he starts bashing all his merchandise. So it's like, you already don't sympathize with him, or at least I didn't. Yeah. You know?
See, in like, I think
sorry, while you're talking.
The very first time I've ever watched Falling Down, I think I was kind of like under the impression of like, oh, this guy just has a really bad day.
Me too.
And then he's just going like, you know, he's just fed up with the littlest things in the world, and then he's just kind of just taking it out on society. Mm-hmm. It's not really like that. Like it's kind of is, but like you find out, like I said, within like 25-30 minutes of the movie, it's like, okay, he's crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Which I think it would have been more interesting. I was talking to Jess about this today. I was like, you know, it would have been more interesting if he is just an average Joe. He's not crazy. He's like Kin, right? Like he's just a normal guy.
Yeah. Maybe
his day starts out, he gets stuck in traffic. It's like same things are falling down. It's hot, you know, construction.
That's what I like about that movie. It's all hot. And like a post-apocalyptic almost looking.
Yeah. Like smoggy kind of LA.
Yeah.
Right. Is that I think it's LA. That's where it is. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. So it's like, you know, his day starts off really bad. He gets to work, maybe he gets fired, or his boss is an asshole to him. And then, you know, he has a really bad day at work. He goes home, his car breaks down. Like it just all these things like start adding up. I personally would have found it a more like I still like Falling Down. I like it. It's a good movie.
It is a good movie. Yeah.
I would have like changed it where like the whole part where he meets the two gangsters later. Like I would have all these little moments build up where he's just like getting so pissed off. You know, bad day at work. You can't get your breakfast at a burger joint anymore because it's 5 minutes past the time. And then, you know, the payphone's broken or something. You know, he gets a hole in his shoe or something. Then the gangsters come and try and jump him for money or something. Like that. I would have rather that would be more interesting film rather than just like a crazy guy kind of going and trying to like I don't know. You don't know what he's trying to do to his wife and kid. Like he's trying to like is he gonna kidnap
think he's going to kill them.
That's what I thought.
Cuz like even Robert Duvall at the end of the movie, he's like, "You know what you're going to do. You're going to kill your wife and kids." And then he kind of looks like I wasn't going to do that, but then it looks like he's kind of questioning himself.
Yeah, he's like
so like even I think the grossest part of the movie is when now we're going into Falling Down, but when Michael Douglas meets his wife and daughter in the pier and then like starts kissing his wife and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "Oh, dude, you're so out of touch." Like you know, like you're out of touch. Yeah. Like this is not good.
You're living in the 60s, man.
yeah, exactly. The only thing that I liked about because the movie kind of plays backwards. You start with him crazy, and then later near the end of the movie, you find out why he is.
He's just like.
But when you find out, like the part I sympathized with him the most was when you find out what his home life is like.
Yeah.
And he's living with his mom.
Yeah.
And he's like 40 with kids, and his mom's like kind of crazy. Like she has all those weird miniatures. She's like a little loopy. You find out he's been pretending he's been going to work for a month.
Yeah.
Which means he's just been driving around the city alone. Like, ooh, dude, that sounds super depressing.
Yeah.
So I get like him in the car at the beginning. It's been a month of him just pretending to be somewhere where he isn't.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's like, that would be horrible.
Yeah.
So it's just like snapping.
I said the only good thing that his character did, despite him being crazy and a lunatic, is when he killed like the Nazi guy.
Yeah.
Like that's the only good thing that he kind of like did in the movie.
And the Nazi's crazy.
He's
crazy.
Insane. He's just bashing all these, different groups of people.
Yeah.
And then he's got Michael Douglas.
Yeah. Pretty much the same person.
He's got him like pinned up against like a table, and he's like got a gun to his back, and he's like, give it to me, or whatever. And then he just like finally stabs him.
Yeah.
But it's like this like Nazi guy is like because there's like memorabilia of like the Nazi party in this guy's like surplus store.
He has like gas canisters that are used on like innocent people.
Yeah.
He's like bragging about the gas canisters and stuff, and like
he
was my favorite character in the aspect of how intense he was and like scary.
He played the part
well. He played the part well. Yeah. And I'm like, the whole thing of that scene is like, the guy's awful, and he's like beyond awful. But again, the earlier scene with Michael Douglas in the variety store being racist to the Korean guy.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, you might not be the Nazi, but you the first thing I saw you do was be racist to the Korean guy.
Yeah.
And now he's like disgusted that this guy like is calling like those that gay couple like slurs and everything.
Yeah.
But it's like, that the Nazi guy's beyond evil. So
yeah. So
that's still a brutal scene when he like that. I was shocked when he stabs the guy in the shoulder.
Yeah.
And then he like pulls out the knife, and he's like looking in the mirror, and he's like, "Oh God,
that's not one of mine."
Oh God, yeah. I'm like, ooh, it's pretty brutal. He has like, did you notice in that scene he has like a Santa Claus?
I did,
with a Nazi symbol
band on it or whatever.
Yeah, that's weird.
I did see that. Kind of weird. But like, I like kind of going back and forth between Falling Down and Taxi Hunters. Like, I see the similarities, but it's not like a 1-for-1 copy.
No.
When you kind of hear like, oh, did you borrow from Falling Down? You kind of like think like, oh, it might be like 70% of like a replica, maybe 60% of a replica.
It's like,
I think there's maybe like 15-20%.
I was gonna say even less
than that, like 10%.
Yeah, maybe? Like 10%.
Like,
and even the director or the stunt coordinator, when they ask him, he's like, I suppose there was some taken from Falling Down. Like, he's not so
they don't see it that way.
Yeah, and they also came out in the same year, 93.
They did, yeah, because that was that. I think we kind of looked at that and we were like, oh wait, like, how did they kind of borrow stuff if it was like the same year?
Yeah, it must have come out like at the beginning of the year, and then this is made near the end of the year or something.
You kind of think in like filming process, it's like they're probably filming for like years.
Yeah, or like
at least
a couple months.
Yeah, so it's like, I guess it depends on kind of like where the movie came out and like where in the process of filming they were.
Yeah. I'm assuming.
But I don't think there's
Falling Down was like made in 92, released in 93, and then this was like filmed in like. Again, it's hard to find information on this movie, but I'm assuming that it was filmed later in the year. Yeah. And like Falling Down was a big movie when it came out, so I'm assuming like they saw it, which is weird too. Because I was watching interviews with Anthony Wong and people involved in this movie. Whenever they're asked about movies that inspired them, it's always American movies.
Yeah.
So they watch a lot of American movies. So I'm assuming they watched Falling Down
probably
earlier that year, and then maybe whipped up a script and took some inspiration, or something.
Yeah.
This is all just conjecture and like making this up, but
yeah, you'll never know, I guess. Like unless you find out somewhere in some interview or something.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. But yeah, for his directing, I felt like, I don't know. It felt efficient is the word I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. It wasn't like anything that like wowed me, right?
No.
It did its job, like we mentioned, right? And like it kept it moving.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't. There was no part in the movie where I was like, oh my god.
Same.
Just get on with it.
No.
There's a lot of movies out there where I'm like, oh my god, like this scene has been going on for like 8 minutes and it's just about nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like you get to act 2 and it's like all boring, and then it's you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah. This movie was like entertaining all the way through, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a very even sort of like flow and pace. It's weird because like, how long was it? Like
An hour and a half. 90 minutes, I think.
It didn't even really feel like an hour and a half. Like,
it went by fast.
It did.
Yeah.
And like I think that's what you kind of want. Like you don't want to feel like it's dragging.
Yeah.
Like I was easily entertained through the moments that were maybe unintentionally funny and intentionally funny, or just really cool. The action was really cool. You know, some good moments of dialogue and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think it did a good job for that, for sure. Because when the end came, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I felt like it could have gone on a little longer.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it could have gone like maybe another 15 minutes just to wrap things up.
Yeah.
But other than that, like the pace of the movie was very sort of, it made it easy to watch. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like fall asleep or like, oh my God, I'm so bored.
For sure.
Like, so like in that aspect, like I think did a good job.
I think so too. Right. And like a movie where it's just a guy killing cab drivers to like seek out vengeance. You don't want it to be boring. And you don't want like round table police scenes where they're like dots on a map. Here's where this murder happened. Here's where this. And it's like, it's none of that. It's like really just, you see him kill a cab driver. And that's it. And then like, all the characters are fun to watch too.
Yeah.
You know, like you have Go, who's fun. And like, so.
And that's the thing is like, it's such a, like a, I guess like some, kind of like a simple sort of story. Mm-hmm. And it just shows like he's not a professional killer. Like I said, like he's just some guy.
Yeah.
It's like if like some random person was going on a rampage, but they have no experience with guns or whatever, and they're probably gonna be the same way. They're gonna be sloppy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. So that's the kind of thing I liked about it. And then you have like the trained cop who's a little bit more composed and
yeah, for sure.
Whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, I think. Kind of did a good job with the direction.
Yeah, I think the directing was fine. Like again, it was just efficient and did its job. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
for sure. Same with the cinematography.
Yeah,
just does its job. It looks nice. It definitely doesn't look ugly.
No, it kind of like, I think a lot of it takes place. Well, maybe about half and half, like half day, half night kind of thing.
A lot of night. Yeah,
a lot of night. It's all over the place. In terms of that aspect, but like the cinematography, I think we kind of both agreed on at the end was like,
looks good.
It's good. There was no like shots where I was like, whoa,
no.
Like that was awesome. I think the only shot that I like kind of like was like, that's really cool, was when he like first gets the gun and shoots, like it's like his second kill or whatever. He shoots the taxi driver that's harassing the granny, because it kind of shows like a low angle shot of like him pointing the gun into like the lower, I guess if you're looking at the screen, like the lower left hand corner.
Yeah.
And then it kind of cuts to a wide of him shooting him. So I was like, okay, that was cool.
Yeah.
Because then it kind of shows like it's all dark, but he's like kind of just lit by like the ambient light. So that, I think that was my favorite shot of the movie.
I feel like my
it was
favorite
composed really well.
Yeah, totally. I think my favorite shot, and it's just like a random scene, but when he finds out his wife died in the hospital, and he like collapses on the ground. And there's like this crazy kind of like soap opera music playing, and then there's like a dolly shot of the camera moving down one of the corridors of the hospital.
Yeah,
and it's just like zooming away from him. I like that shot.
Yeah, I like it's an appealing movie. It's not like like, oh my God, that was awful.
Yeah, it's warm. It's 90s. It looks good.
Yeah,
it's just like I don't know.
Again, like you said, it did its job.
Yeah,
it kept us interested
for sure.
Which I think that's what.
And Jess too.
Yeah. I am kind of surprised that Jess didn't like do something else or was just like falling asleep or whatever.
Well, because she was like, "Oh, I'll probably watch a little bit of it," and then she was there till the end. She was laughing.
Yeah,
She was enjoying it.
She enjoyed it just as invested as we were.
Yeah, totally.
So
like, she was there till the end,
and that's what you want, right? Like you want people, like your audience, to be like engaged. So I think the movie did a very good job at like keeping people who knew nothing about this movie, interested.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
for sure.
So kind of leading into it, because now we're kind of talking about, I guess, so that was direction and cinematography. I guess now writing, it's tough because there might be like, in terms of like dialogue, I guess, mistranslation
for sure. I didn't like trust the subtitles.
Yeah, I think we were all kind of like oh my God, they say bro a lot, but now that we kind of like looked at it afterwards, and it's like, oh, maybe that's just like a general sort of like greeting, right, or like kind of like what you like, oh, hello my friend, but you've never met that person before.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just being kind of friendly.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just like an English substitute for whatever
greeting
they're giving.
I guess. So I mean, like
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to judge writing. Like, I mean, like, I never felt, again, if the writings are what the characters are saying, it was always entertaining.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
There was no long monologues, I guess, like
yeah,
him like narrating like, I don't know, just pointless dribble, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it was, again, I think all in all, it was a very sort of like straightforward movie. It didn't try to be anything crazy.
No.
The writing, like, it's kind of hard, kind of to tell on certain things, but like there was no, like, I guess if you listen to a line in a movie, maybe a movie that you really like, where you're like, that was a badass piece of dialogue.
Yeah.
Like it was, I guess it kind of depends on the delivery, but like,
yeah,
it was like not a cheesy line. It like, it fit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. There was nothing really like that. It wasn't cheesy.
No.
Other than, I don't know.
No. Like, it's hard to call the humor cheesy because there's some cheesy humor, but I mean, like, again, that could be a translation thing. And it's just like, I mean, it's a Hong Kong movie, probably for a Hong Kong audience. Mm-hmm. So their humor might work better for them than it works for us, or maybe not.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the humor for the most part worked for me. Like the intentional lines, like,
yeah,
they kept calling that coworker of Anthony Wong fatty.
Yeah,
I felt really bad for that guy.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah, they're like, don't worry. When they let Anthony Wong go, they're like, don't worry, fatty will do your work. I'm like, good God.
And again, like in kind of going back to Falling Down for a second, with Robert Duvall's character, like, he takes just as much punishment as like Michael Douglas's character. Like, again, that's an understatement because obviously Michael Douglas is. Like,
but I think that's the point, though. He's kind of facing similar issues.
Yeah, he's facing a lot of like ridicule and like, oh, like
he's leaving his job.
Yeah, because it's his last day on the job and he's moving to like Arizona.
Yeah,
I think it is. And they're like, oh, like all his coworkers are just giving him a hard time. They fill his desk with like cat litter, still with the turds in it.
Yeah. They keep joking about how he's gonna die by the end of the day.
Don't get shot.
Yeah,
don't get killed on your last day.
Yeah, like they almost like seem to kind of want it. It's weird.
Yeah,
like, they're like, yeah.
And then his boss like is like, I don't respect a man who doesn't swear.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know.
And he's like, you're a coward staying off the streets, because now Robert Duvall works like a desk job.
Yeah.
But then it turns out it's because he had a kid who died, and his wife clearly doesn't want her husband to die too.
Exactly.
So she like asked him to take a desk job.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like,
play it safe.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same, like, again, very minor sort of like character.
Yeah.
Because Fatty, you don't really see him, but it's like,
but that's his name. Yeah,
poor character, like poor Fatty.
I know.
And I guess like you can kind of like do the same thing for all the other sort of like characters who don't really have a name, like the granny or whatever. It's like all these taxi drivers are just harassing.
Oh, totally.
All these innocent people. It's just because they want to go home.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And it's like poor Robert Duvall is just, he wants to get through his last day, gets this giant sort of case, and all his coworkers are like, what? Like, we got you a stripper. You don't like women anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, he's just about to go catch a killer.
Yeah, and the guy says something about his wife. He's like, you should see his wife or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
so I guess it's like kind of similarities in that sort of like aspect, right? Yeah. But yeah, the writing, I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
It was good. It was funny.
It did its job.
Yeah, like it genuinely made me laugh, and I wasn't laughing at the movie. I feel like I was laughing with it for the most part.
Yeah.
So
the comedic elements when they were like put into the movie, it was fine.
Yeah, it was goofy and it was funny and whatever.
But again, like only because of Go.
Yeah,
right? Like he's the comic relief. Yeah. So like when you see him on screen, he's gonna like kind of be acting a little like weird.
For sure. Yeah.
Or doing something different.
Anthony Wong like slapping people was pretty funny too.
Yeah,
like he slaps Fatty because Fatty says you should be over your wife's death, and then he slaps before he starts killing cabbies. He just slaps one in the face for being rude in front of a group of people.
That's right. Yeah.
And they all start laughing.
Yeah, that's right.
So like, oh, that's funny. But
they start cheering for him. It's like he's just such like an innocent looking guy. Like you kind of chalk him up as being like a nerd, but it's like then he's just got the balls just to go and just slap some random like cabbie, and then like his coworker.
And he doesn't even think about slapping Fatty, but Fatty deserved it because Fatty said the most like horrible thing ever. You know what I mean? No sense of like judgment about how he's feeling.
It's so out of left field because you're like, oh, what's gonna happen here? And then
just bitch slaps him. It's like, oh, but then Fatty gets his job, so in the end, Fatty wins.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I guess that's how it goes.
For sure.
So I guess kind of going forward now. So that was direction, cinematography, writing.
Like acting,
like I guess acting / characters. Like, how did you feel about I guess the people playing those characters?
Yeah.
The characters, I guess in general, and like I guess their motives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Like, how did you feel about it?
I like Anthony Wong, and then after watching a movie with him last night, it was like I might talk about it briefly. I know we've been talking forever now, but briefly later. But the movie that I watched last night, it was called The Untold Story. He won an Oscar for it, like a Hong Kong Oscar.
Oh, really?
And it is like a disgusting movie. So in Hong Kong, he's like seen as like one of the best actors.
Really?
And I feel like he did a good job. I don't know. Again, it's kind of I don't want to say an easy role to play, but I mean like very nuanced, but I feel like it worked. I like his face.
Yeah.
I just like his face. I liked Main Tat, Go Main Tat,
So
as Go.
Oh, so Go. Okay.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. Again, really overacting.
A lot of overacting. For sure.
And like I don't know, all the acting was fine. Nothing stood out as bad. The characters made sense to me. Yeah, I don't know. I had no problem with any of.
There was no like weird Nicolas Cage moments.
No, and no bad acting either. Like I mean, sometimes with foreign films, and I find Asian movies, it's hard to pick out bad acting. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I have a hard time with that. Like sometimes it's very obvious, but I mean, this was, I don't know.
They all kind of fit the part. Like if you were to picture, I guess, like if you kind of just maybe heard just how like the writing of just how Kin's character was described.
Yeah.
Like if you had like 3-4 sentences, and then like what do you kind of picture? Like did like the guy Anthony Wong?
Yeah.
Like, do you kind of like picture that guy? Maybe like like it kind of fit. I guess.
I think it fit.
Same thing for like Chung. Like again, like what are you gonna do? He's a cop. I guess like a cop can look like anyone, right?
Yeah, totally. He's wearing the sunglasses. Yeah,
like a clean cut kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Go, I think is maybe the only one that is like I don't know. He's an undercover cop.
Apparently, he's like a prolific actor in Hong Kong too. Like really like he's a big boy. He's like the experienced one, which is crazy. But
like
they have him so goofy.
He's like the Tom Cruise of
I guess.
Hong Kong.
I mean, I think this is Anthony Wong's like an earlier movie for him, but Main Tat or Girl Main Tat, definitely like a big actor at that time.
Interesting.
So.
Okay.
But they had him real goofy.
Yeah.
Like
when we first started watching the movie, I was like, okay, this like why is this character in here? But I can see why. I guess if you can do the job, like you can kind of portray that sort of goofy character.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
I guess.
Like he had to do some crazy stuff. He's always going like this or whatever, and I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're just listening, that doesn't make any sense. But he gives like whatever this sign is. I don't know, like the heavy metal devil horn sign.
The rock symbol.
Yeah, the rock symbol all the time. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like
it's always weird seeing a grown man act like a 12-year-old, but
yeah, kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like it didn't take me out of the movie because you understand like what his character's like when you kind of like see him a little bit more, but it's like at the beginning of the movie he's got like this side, like even when you look at the cover, he's got like this sideways cap, and it's like
he's on the back.
Sorry, he's got this sideways cap with like hold it down, sideways cap with like these like black sunglasses on. And it's like, okay, what is this? Like, I thought maybe like because of that he was like the traditional sort of like gangster in the movie. Maybe he's like one of the bad guys.
Yeah,
turns out he's a good guy.
Sure.
I don't know. It was kind of weird.
Yeah,
but like
again, I just thought he was dressed like that for undercover work. But he's dressed like that when they're eating dinner at home.
That's just who he is.
He just loves friggin' what is it? Basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah, he just loves basketball.
Any team apparently, like he's not sticking to one team.
Yeah.
He just loves basketball.
Yeah, and they make him like a lovable dad. He's like a single parent, it seems, and like his daughter loves him, and like I don't know. I liked his character. I don't know. I was rooting for him for sure.
Ultimately, like poor Go. Like
for sure. He did not.
Poor guy didn't deserve it.
Yeah,
just gets shoved in this playing as a cabbie.
Yeah, for sure.
Against his will, maybe not against his will, but like, I think he was kind of like regretting doing it.
But like, I feel like this movie wasn't entirely too mean-spirited. Like from the other directors' works that I saw, just the one, it's like Go wouldn't stand a chance. He'd be
he'd be the
destroyed.
He'd be the character that died first.
Oh, totally. So like this movie has some heart. It's kind of funny. It's lighthearted. It allows Go to live, even though you got to watch Go get hurt. It's still like Go's fine.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
Yeah,
let's just hope so. I mean, he's surviving. He's in the hospital and he's awake. So
yeah.
He might have like a life-threatening injuries that may last their lifetime. Like he might not be able to walk again, but you know what?
I guess so. He probably got shot in the spine.
For sure, yeah. But he has a nice daughter to cook for him, so that's all
I guess that makes sense, yeah. Now, how'd you feel about Fatty? I guess he's a pretty pivotal character. Once you're on the
my
screen,
choice for the Oscars of 1993.
Yeah. If you get slapped by the main character, you play a pivotal part.
Yeah. Fatty, he has some good lines, like telling him that he should be over the death of his wife because it's been a year. It's pretty good.
Yeah, because he's been married for a year.
Yeah, because you've been married for a year. Yeah. My friend was only married for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then, like, it wasn't even a great line, but there's a line earlier where Anthony Wong's at work and he's, like, getting congratulated for having the most sales or whatever. And then Fatty comes up to him, and Fatty's like, you better keep up that quota again next month or else you'll be in deep shit. It's like, I don't know. I like Fatty.
Yeah, he was a good character.
Yeah. He had like 3 lines and they were all funny.
The moments he was on screen, it was, again, it was funny.
Yeah.
Like,
and I have sympathy for anyone being called like Fatty.
Yeah.
You know?
Poor guy.
Yeah, totally.
I guess then like the last thing, kind of wrapping it up a little bit, is like I guess we'll wrap, like, kind of combine like music and then like effects and stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, we already kind of talked about the effects a little bit. Like, I was pretty impressed with it.
Me too.
I liked the special effects. They were all practical.
Yeah.
When people got like shot, it's like it had like the blowout effect of like, I don't know what it looks like if you get hit with a bullet, but like it wasn't like most sort of like maybe more Americanized films where it's like you get shot with a bullet and then all of a sudden just this like 5 liters of blood just gets like splurted out of you. Maybe like, I guess, like more over the top, but like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
I think that's purposely done to be like a little more over the top, but it's not like it was like it just happens. It just kind of like punctures you, and then like that's it. Like you might get a little bit of blood coming out.
Yeah, and there's like some good blood squibs. Like I remember when we bought the movie, I'm like, all I want is some blood squibs. Yeah, and I got the blood squibs. Yeah, and they were pretty good. Yeah. Like when at the beginning when Go's partner gets shot in the ass. Yeah, it's a big blood squib on his butt. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks painful.
Yeah, so. effects was achieved really well. Oh, yeah. I guess we can kind of combine this a little bit, like, but stunts.
Yeah, the stunts were good.
Stunts was impressive.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it was cool. Like the first action scene was like, I was like, oh man, I'm into this. Yeah, I'm a sucker for action. I like. Maybe more like the first 2 John Wicks. Yeah. Like I like that kind of stuff. Just like really good choreography. Yeah. I like that kind of stuff. So like they did a good job with that as well. I think their stunt coordinator did a good job.
I like there's a scene where he's like getting beat up by the taxi driver, and then he goes to run away from the taxi driver and runs into like a change machine where you pay for parking. Yeah. And it looks painful. Yeah. So I like those effects. It reminds me of like very Hong Kong Police Story where like people hit stuff and they hit stuff hard. Yeah. You know? Like it looks good. Yeah. And like the way they fight is everything's loose and kind of like, you know what I mean? Yeah. When they hit each other, it's fast and hard and like yeah. It's all like on screen.
Although
like
all the slaps on Fatty were real.
Real like, slaps.
Maybe everyone on
they
set
probably took that
guy.
shot like 100 takes. Yeah. Like, slap him again.
Yeah. No, the stunts and choreography was really well done. There's nothing that like kind of like takes me out of a movie or TV more than like when you can like look like you're actually swinging something. Yeah. Like if you're swinging a sword, make it look like you're actually swinging a sword. Yeah. I don't know. Like there's these things like where it just looks so like fake. Like this one was like they did a good job where when they get thrown down the stairs, I was like, damn. Like,
yeah, all that stuff looks good.
Yeah. It really well done. Yeah. The music, I think.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about it earlier before this, and I don't know if we had anything crazy to say. We were trying to figure out a way to like. There's not a way to like sum it up in words other than 80s.
Yeah,
like saxophone,
winds, like flute.
Yeah, kind of fluty, like saxophones for sure. It's like think of like the Taxi Driver soundtrack, but really corny and really 80s with that bass.
Yeah. Yeah. I tried to find the soundtrack, but it just I don't think it just doesn't exist.
Yeah, I tried to find it
because I was like I should kind of like listen to it a little bit and like see if there's like a cool sort of song, but it just doesn't exist. I think it's just kind of standard sort of Yeah. They probably use that same music in every movie they made like in those couple of years, you know. If you can kind of picture like a Miami.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Miami Vice kind of like yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure. Which I liked. I liked the music. Yeah. It matched if I'm going to watch a 90s Hong Kong action movie, then give me that music, you know.
The opening credits I think did it for me. Like it just shows like the taxi sign on a car driving through like Hong Kong. Yeah. And all these neon lights and stuff. The music kind of fit pretty good with that. So I was like, it was getting me in the mood. It was getting me in the mood too. The vibe of the movie, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think, in my opinion, the consensus across all those sort of like topics is like we're just kind of like, it did its job.
Yeah, totally. It did its job.
It wasn't like they were like, man, the music really sucked, or man, the writing or the acting was terrible.
Yeah,
I think it was pretty even throughout the whole movie.
I think so too.
I don't know.
It all felt like that. Everything with the movie, it just felt like it did its job.
Yeah.
It didn't do more than it. Like, it could have done more, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, maybe there was something missing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for what it was, I don't know. We all had a good time watching it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's
100%.
You know, like, yeah, we had a fun time. I don't know. I'll remember it always.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I'll never forget.
It might be a movie we go back to eventually, but like.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It was a cool movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely check out maybe more of like the director's work or the writer's work.
Yes.
Even Anthony Wong's work. Like it's.
Yeah, I want to watch more Anthony Wong stuff.
Yeah. I think it's put it on our personal maps a little bit more. Yeah. It's like, you know, maybe you want to experience a different actor other than, like, I don't know, Tom Cruise or something.
Yeah.
I'm going back to Tom Cruise. Like,
you mentioned him a few times.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Hey, I love Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
But
like, you know, you want to experience like.
Well, I like literally went and watched another one of his movies because I was like,
there you go.
I want to see what it's like, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Is there anything else you want to kind of like add about that movie specifically, or?
No, I would say watch it if it sounds interesting. I mean, we pretty much said everything that happens in it.
Yeah, so spoilers.
But that's a good thing.
Maybe you kind of know what you're going into.
Yeah. I feel like picking a movie that's older and from Hong Kong, if anyone's going to listen to this podcast, they're probably not going to care about what happens in the movie as a spoiler. You know, if we picked a new movie that just came out, and our first podcast was breaking the entire thing down, then you might not want to listen to it because you're going to hear everything about the movie. So this is just kind of a fun movie. It's something we thought we would have fun watching and talking about.
Yeah. Just as a side note, when we were kind of picking our movie, we didn't go back and forth too much, but like we were like, oh, let's pick something, and then we see this one. First of all, I mean, we kind of maybe broke this rule a little bit, but like the cover is amazing.
The cover's awesome.
Oh, yeah. The artwork is awesome.
We have the poster here. Which there's two sides of the poster. So there's the original poster and then there's a modern artwork. So
this is like more of like kind of like, I guess, a shot from the movie.
Yeah.
Like it kind of.
And that's Falling Down.
That's like, definitely Falling Down right there. If you kind of pull up a side by side of like this and Falling Down, like it's
for sure
pretty close.
Like in Falling Down, he's on like that brick or concrete staircase that the gang attacks him on.
Like, oh yeah, that's definitely like Michael Douglas in Falling Down.
For sure. And he has like in Falling Down, he has the suitcase and the shotgun, where in this he has, what does he have?
A
thing wrench? He never uses in the movie, so some kind of wrench.
I guess
I don't think he uses that ever.
Bike lock?
Yeah.
And then you turn it around.
And then the other side is like, I think this was artwork done for the Blu-ray release, which is
so cool.
Pretty cool, actually.
When I saw that, I was like, oh yeah. That's a cool.
Me too. Right when I saw it, I'm like, this could be interesting. And like, I like the cover because it's like, you have like the glass shards flying everywhere, which is like makes sense for the movie.
Are all the characters on there?
Yeah, all their characters' faces are like reflected in the glass. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we definitely broke rule number one whenever buying like a movie or something is like, you know, definitely judging the movie by its cover.
Oh, I always judge movies by the cover.
Yeah. Like it's like it could be the worst movie ever, and then it has the coolest cover.
Yeah,
so it's like they spent all their money and budget on the cover work.
Yeah. Because I used to collect horror movies a lot, and like that's how I did it. Yeah. You looked for the coolest cover, and then I mean that's what they're doing with that artwork. No one's gonna buy a $40 Blu-ray if it looks like shit. You know, so they make it look cool. But I mean, I didn't feel cheated with that artwork. It lived up to the movie. Yeah. You know?
No, I think it did a good job. Just kind of looking at our time here.
Oh, no.
No, we're still good.
No, we're still good. I mean, we've probably been talking for like 2 hours. I feel like I talk for way more, which is ridiculous.
Hour and a
half. Okay.
Hour and a half isn't too bad.
It's hard to get in the swing of it.
Maybe we can kind of wrap it up a little bit with maybe just stuff that outside of Taxi Hunter, stuff that we've been kind of watching. So maybe just like if, I don't know, whoever watches this or listens to this, maybe wants to hear like, I guess, our opinions on it. If they've watched it or they're looking into watching something. I guess what have you watched?
Well, like, I did want to briefly, I mean, it has to do with Taxi Hunter.
Yeah.
But just his other movie.
Yeah.
Because I watched that last night.
Yeah.
And I did think like the contrast compared to this movie, because, you know, you hear this director is known for Category 3 movies, which is like NC-17.
By the way, no spoilers.
For the other movie?
Yeah.
You don't want me to spoil it?
Maybe no spoilers. Because maybe if we both watch it again.
Oh, because you might watch it. Okay. Maybe. I will just say, good Lord. Like, it was entertaining, and it's so nasty and mean, but also, like, this movie, so much humor and stuff in it. Like, that's what surprised me about this movie. With the one I watched was called The Untold Story, and it's based off a real murder of it's called like the Immortal 8 restaurant. So a guy went there and like murdered, this isn't a spoiler, it's just a plot of the movie, murdered the whole family that lived at the restaurant. And dude, I don't know, there's so much urine in that movie, and drinking urine, which isn't a spoiler.
He, like, just fascinated with pee, like,
yeah, lots of pee, and it's just brutal. Like, dude, like, it is like nonstop brutality, but super fun at the same time. But the one thing I'll say is, you know, you see a lot of movies, like, I know, like, there's a series of movies which people listening to this probably know called the Terrifier movies. And Terrifier 3 is coming out right now. And the whole debate is, in the teaser trailer, they show, like, a kid get killed, or alluded to that the kid dies. And then they're like, is the movie really going to go there? Apparently it does, but it doesn't show it in a horrible way.
Mm-hmm.
The Untold Story shows him kill, like, 8 kids.
Oh, my God.
And it lingers on it. It's crazy.
Like this is because this is Herman Yau.
Yeah, Herman Yau.
Yeah. It's probably like different rules in like Hong Kong, because like I think I read somewhere that it's a rule in like American cinema or North American cinema where it's like you can't show children dying on screen. Directly, in the same frame.
Yeah.
Like if you cut away or if you just show like the kid's hand, it's probably obviously just like a dummy or a stunt double or something.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't directly show it, so it's probably different,
for sure,
I guess,
yeah,
laws or rules.
Yeah, which is weird too, because in Hong Kong, like, category 3 is NC-17, and unlike America, if you go to an NC-17 movie and you're not 18 years of age, the theater owner can be arrested and charged. Ooh, wow. And then the theater owner has the right to charge you. So it's crazy. Oh, wow. Like, he can take you to like civil court and like.
Interesting.
Yeah. So unlike America, where I feel like, or Canada, where we live, it's just like, we recommend you don't go, and theaters might say no, but I don't think they'll be charged and like arrested.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So that movie was like, I feel like you should watch it, and then maybe the next podcast we'll talk about it just for 5 minutes, just because like
kind of
Again, it's nasty, but it was still like, I watched it alone and like I was having fun with it. It's just like, damn. Oof. He goes pretty far with it. Oof. He goes pretty far.
Interesting. I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah, it's on Tubi, baby, for free.
There we go.
Yeah, because I went to watch Ebola Syndrome, but I couldn't find it.
So that's probably gonna be like a little bit harder to find.
Yeah, and luckily this one, which is known as like his second nastiest movie, was on Tubi. So it's like an hour and 20 minutes.
So they can put the second nastiest thing, but not the nastiest thing.
No, I'm sure like
Tubi has some standards.
Yeah, like I don't know, I really want to watch Ebola Syndrome.
Yeah,
I'm very intrigued. You know.
I think if we ever get our hands on that, or we find it, we'll watch it together.
We should.
And kind of get like an honest reaction, like while watching it. Like, I don't know.
Because the whole time I was watching this movie last night, I was like, man, if I watched this with you, the whole time we would have been like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, they really, I don't know. I wish I could tell you some of the deaths in it, because it's insane. But yeah, I won't. We'll wait till you watch it.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. But how about you? I've seen a lot of stuff lately, but yeah.
Yeah, I won't go too much into it. I mean, like, I've been watching a little bit more like TV shows than anything. So I've been going through the Rings of Power, which I gotta kind of catch up on that. I think I'm like an episode behind.
How many more episodes now till the?
I don't know. I think what was season 1, like maybe 10.
Really?
Maybe.
Yeah, this
like
is probably the same.
Yeah. A TV show that I was kind of a blind pick. Again, I didn't like read anything into it. I know the one actor. Oh God. He's Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones. I don't know how to like say his name. It's like Reese something or something like
in
that.
real life his name?
In real life, yeah. Those About to Die.
In real life. Okay. Yeah. Those About to Die.
Will
you tell me about this?
I was telling you about this, yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically just about like during like, you know, gladiator times. Obviously there's like a Caesar and everything, all that kind of stuff. Anthony Hopkins is in it, and this guy from Game of Thrones, Ramsay Bolton. Just call him Ramsay until I get the pronunciation of his name. So I was like, oh, this will be good. Anthony Hopkins is in it. You know, he's like a pretty renowned actor. He's in it for like maybe a few episodes.
Oh, okay. Is he in those episodes like predominantly, or is he?
Yeah. There's no one else that really is like big name actors. So if you're kind of like a person who's really into actors. There's no one that's like standing out. I don't know. I watched it just to get through it. I realized I probably should have quit like maybe like halfway through.
I remember you were saying that to me.
I was like, I'm halfway through. I might as well just finish it.
Good for you. I feel like I'm like that too. I got to finish what I'm watching. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Ramsay Bolton, maybe I'll pull up his name real quick.
I can't even picture what he looks like. He was in Game of Thrones, you said?
He was in Game of Thrones. He plays like Ramsay Bolton, the guy in the Battle of the Bastards.
I stopped at season 3 for Game of Thrones.
Oh my God, I am so off on his name. For some reason, I thought it was Reese. I'm thinking of his last name.
Is it Rice?
Ewan Rayon.
Whoa, way off.
Ewan Rayon.
Ewan Rayon. Yeah.
Ewan Rayon.
Yeah.
I was thinking of his last name with RH, but he's in it, and I don't know. The other actors are kind of weak. The effects, I guess, is a lot of CGI.
What's the studio behind that? Do you know?
No, I don't know. I think it's an Amazon original, maybe.
Amazon, yeah.
Not great. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Every time there was CGI on the screen, I was like, it looks.
Oh no!
That looks terrible.
Like, what did they CGI in?
Like animals.
Oh yes.
I guess like the city. Obviously everything was filmed on a blue screen.
Yeah.
Like there's no way around it. Like you look at it and it's like, not to spoil anything, but they do show the Colosseum, like finished and everything. So when the Colosseum actually opens, this is kind of like in the last like 2-3 episodes. The scaling it does not look
really
good. It is not great because like obviously the Colosseum is huge, so when they show like a top-down view of it in the show, it's like, man, this thing is massive. When they show like inside the Colosseum, like in the main sort of like ring, I guess you would want to call it, it's like obviously it's just on a stage. Like they didn't like try to make it look like it was like, because the way it's filmed is, you know, it looks like they're so big compared to like the walls.
Oh no, really?
It just does not match up.
Yeah,
if you watch this show, and you get to like the end part where it like kind of is starting to show the Colosseum, it just shows that like they just didn't get the aspect ratios right in terms of like person to like wall of the Colosseum. And I've never been to the Colosseum in person.
Can you just film it at the Colosseum and then like CGI in like the
ruined,
but
it's like all ruined and stuff? But like they just did not get it right.
Yeah.
So some of the like that was my one gripe of it. Again, it's like they tried to borrow too much from Game of Thrones. Like, how violent can we make this?
Yeah, that's a thing with all these types of shows. Why I feel like I don't watch some of them. It's just like, yeah, I get it was a violent ass time, you know, but
it's just like in the last maybe I think this is about 10 episodes as well. Maybe in the last like 4 or 5, maybe 3 or 4 episodes, it's like characters just start dying, and it's like it's the same thing when I was told to, like when I started watching Game of Thrones, it's like don't get attached. Really don't get attached, because I mean like characters start dying. There's definitely a lot of like hero syndrome in this where it's like if you're the main character, you're living. Yeah. Kind of thing. Yeah. Not to spoil anything. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, let's just kill this character off just because we can. Yeah. It's like it doesn't really like mean anything. In a way, it's just like,
well, if it happens so often and so much, then eventually it's like, you can be like desensitized to like, whatever.
I mean, if a season 2 comes out, I haven't heard anything if they've like canceled it or whatever, or if they're doing season 2, I probably won't watch it unless it gives me like a really good reason to watch it. Yeah. Like if there is an actor that I really like that comes in or something, then maybe I'll watch it. But there's a lot of weak parts of that show. I would probably, if I could rate that, I guess maybe you can rate that movie you just talked about. Yeah. Oh, we didn't even rate, we'll rate that after. Yeah. Let's rate that at the end. Yeah. If I could rate Those About to Die, I would probably give it, what did I say before?
I can't remember. Was it low? Hopefully not as low as that Uglies show or movie or whatever the freak that was.
We can go into that. We can watch that.
Yeah, okay. Oh God. Is that a movie?
It's a movie.
Okay, I'll watch it.
So I'd probably give it like, if we can do like a point, like a 0.6 or 0.7 or whatever, I'd probably give it a 2.6.
Okay, that's pretty low.
About that. I mean, like,
so not a 2.5, but a little above.
A little above.
Okay, yeah, Because I think that's how we're gonna do our ratings. We're gonna do it like out of 5, but we can do point whatever.
Yeah, like you can do like 3.2 or something like that. Like it was just above, average
for sure
kind of thing.
Yeah, because the Herman Yau movie I watched last night, The Untold Story, I gave it 4 on Letterboxd.
Okay,
and I'd probably stick with that rating.
That's good. That's a good.
Just because I don't know.
Yeah.
That's like again talking about like how crazy violent that show is. It's like I find violence, I'm affected more by it than ever. But I appreciate when like I'm watching horrifying shit. I don't know how to explain it, and it's mean, but at the same time, like it feels like there's like some heart there, or something. It's not like the movie is definitely when it was made trying to shock you.
Yeah.
But I guess time has passed now, and like I don't know, it feels almost harmless.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It feels shocking, and that's what I was wanting. So therefore, I shouldn't complain too much,
Okay.
Whereas, like, I don't know, some TV shows, it's like you don't know whether it's going to be shocking or not, and they just load that shit in, like crazy deaths and stuff. And, like, I don't know. Like it's like water cooler talk. They want people to talk about it the next day. So it's like, we're going to have something crazy happen.
Right.
But, yeah. Well,
maybe we should get onto our Taxi Hunter review.
Yeah. We skipped that.
This
is our first time.
Our Taxi Hunter rating. I guess we just did a whole
we just did like an hour and a half review, which if it felt disjointed, hopefully the more we do this, the more connected it'll be.
Yeah, the more used to we'll get used to it.
We'll use the classic excuse. This is our first day.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't do multiple takes.
Yeah, we didn't.
No, we didn't. That's true.
Even when I was scratching the mic and, I was holding a lot of burps from my beer. So you're going to hear a lot of like guttural noises. And
So what would you give Taxi Hunter out of 5? Keeping in mind we can do like 2.1.
Yeah. I think I have
something
it.
like that. What would you do?
A 3.7.
3.7?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's fair. I think on Letterboxd, I gave it a 3.5 because you can do half stars. I'm going to stick around that. I'm going to go 3.6.
Yeah.
I think I think that's the average review on Letterboxd is like about 3.4.
I think it is like a 3 point something. Yeah, I think so. 3.4. Yeah,
so
maybe.
I think
I gave it 4 on Letterboxd.
Ooh, wow.
But just because at the time, like I don't know, when you watch a movie with people and you all had fun watching it, makes you appreciate it a bit more.
Yeah.
So I was like, we were all entertained, and I don't know. I think the fact that Jess stuck around also made me think a little more highly of the movie. I'm like, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm glad she enjoyed it. So yeah. But I if I could give points, which we can here, I'd give it like a 3.7.
3.7? That's fair.
For what it is. Like, again, the more we do this with movies, judging like a Hong Kong schlocky movies from the 90s will be different than judging some drama. You know what I'm saying? So like a 3.8 might not be the same as a 3.8 for like a real serious drama. I don't know.
Right.
But for the type of movie it is, I'll give it 3.7. I'm glad it was made, and I liked it.
That was a cool movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like, unless there's anything else to talk about, I don't really know.
I can talk all day, baby.
Kind of went on every aspect about the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And then even like whatever we really have been watching.
Yeah, it's funny because like we both watched Falling Down, so then we started to talk about it. And I'm like, I could just talk about Falling Down now forever.
Yeah,
it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's gonna really make the podcast.
Maybe we can do a future one on that, like a more in-depth. I guess
because I do have a lot of opinions on that movie.
Opinionated review. I guess. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like for a lot of these movies we watch, we'll probably watch other movies that are connected to it, just to like kind of have something to compare and contrast. But then you end up wanting to talk about that movie as well, and then all of a sudden you have a 3-hour podcast where your camera is about to explode. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we won't. I don't think we should spoil it. The next movie we're planning to watch.
No, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Again, so it'll be kind of a surprise, I guess, for
sure.
anyone else that has been listening to this.
Yeah.
And it'll be like a surprise for us because we looked at the cover. We're like, that looks interesting.
Yes.
So again, I think it's another older movie.
I think it's from the 70s.
Okay, so even older.
It's American this time, though.
Yeah. So we won't spoil it, but I think that'll be our next movie we're gonna watch.
Yeah.
Give you a little bit, like I guess hints at it, but like 1970 American. That's it.
That's all the hints we're giving.
I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know who's the main actor.
I have no idea.
You were like going on about him or whatever. You're like,
Warren Oates. I think it's Warren Oates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Warren Oates.
Yeah, because I think he was in that movie I was talking about, which has the coolest movie name ever. Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia.
Okay.
Which is the sickest name ever. I don't remember liking that movie that much, but it's like a Sam Peckinpah movie. But yeah. I think it has Warren Oates in it.
Warren Oates.
And it's American and it's 70s. And I had never heard of it before this. So
yeah, I think, again, I picked it up on the shelf.
It looks funny.
Like, ooh, this looks cool. So
yeah.
Well, I guess we'll be kind of coming back to that one. And then,
hopefully soon.
Going from there, we can kind of wrap up again what we have been watching after that point.
Yeah, and there'll be lots because it's award season now. So like
more,
so much is coming to the theater. Yeah. I had so many movies I wanted to talk about right now, but it's just like, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I guess that's kind of, what are we at?
Oh no.
Let me see here. Hour and
47 minutes. We'll have to trim this bad boy down.
Oh god.
Whoever's listening better listen to the whole thing.
The whole thing, yeah.
Come on, it's just 2 hours.
Yeah. 2 hours of your life.
Yeah, of people you barely know, and that opinion doesn't mean much. So listen to the whole thing.
All right. Well, I guess that was the review on Taxi Hunter.
Yeah, it was good. And again, it was the first one. So eventually, the more we do it, the more hopefully if it felt disjointed, the less disjointed it'll become. Yeah. Or who knows? Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be chaos every time, and that's fun.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
All right.
Alrighty.
Well, I guess that kind of wraps up the review, and then we'll be back with the next movie,
which I can't even remember the name of now. I guess we can't say it.
I guess we can't say it. We're not trying to spoil it. But yeah, I guess we'll be back, with another one, and then
hopefully soon.
And
then hopefully thousands of more,
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
Hopefully we can do this a little bit more often. And
I hope so. Yeah.
Have fun with it.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Okay.
Play a little
outro. Oh no! I don't have headphones, so I can't hear what you're playing.
First time experimenting.
Is it the outro music?
Yeah. Oh no, it's gonna be.
Is it applause?
It's an applause.
Oh my god, you all love us. Thank you so much. My mom told me I wasn't going to mount anything.
We do have an audience behind the camera.
Yeah, we do actually.
Very quiet.
Yeah, we do. A giant audience too. Yeah.
So that's kind of
crazy, actually.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with your first million?
I don't know. I think I'm going to buy...
you better say donate to the charity, asshole. Or else you're going out.
I don't know. Does that charity give me a TV? For donating so much?
No. See ya.